The moment Trevor Noah walked onto Kelly Clarkson's stage, the audience's cheers were loud, but the air between the two seemed strangely charged. Kelly greeted him warmly at first, but within moments, subtle tension began to creep in. She joked about his sharp political humor being a little too spicy for daytime television. And Trevor, smiling but with a flicker of seriousness in his eyes, countered that truth shouldn't have a time slot. The audience laughed, nervously, sensing that this wasn't just playful banter. As the segment went on, Trevor's remarks became more pointed, challenging Kelly's comments about celebrity responsibility, hinting that entertainers who avoided political issues were playing it safe. Kelly's smile tightened. She tried to steer the conversation back to light topics, but Trevor kept circling back to accountability, each remark hitting closer to home. Asterisk, the tension deepened when Kelly brought up Trevor's recent book tour, suggesting that he had leaned into controversy to sell more copies. Trevor's eyebrows lifted, his tone sharpening as he replied, "If telling the truth is controversy, then maybe the world needs more of it." The audience clapped, but the applause was split, half excited, half unsure. Kelly chuckled, but her eyes didn't match the laugh. "I just think there's a time and place for certain conversations," she said. Trevor didn't miss a beat, and maybe the time is when we have a platform that millions are watching. A murmur ran through the audience. Kelly shifted in her seat, glancing briefly toward the producers off stage, as if to see how far this was going to go. Asterisk, by the third segment, the conversation had turned into a back and forth that felt less like an interview and more like a live debate. Trevor leaned forward, gesturing passionately as he explained how silence from influential voices can be as damaging as misinformation. Kelly pushed back, arguing that sometimes people just wanted to be entertained without being preached. 2. The energy in the room was electric. Every comment met with either cheers or awkward coughs. At one point, Kelly attempted to change the topic entirely, but Trevor called her out directly. "You're changing the subject because it's uncomfortable, not because it's irrelevant." That line drew a mix of gasps and applause. Kelly's jaw tightened ever so slightly, a tell that the confrontation had gone deeper than she'd intended. A producer tried to signal for a commercial break, but Trevor waved it off. "No, let's talk," he insisted. Locking eyes with Kelly, she raised her hands slightly in a gesture of mock surrender. But her voice had an edge now. "Fine, let's talk. But remember, this is my show." Trevor smiled faintly, replying, "Exactly, and what you choose to put on your show says something about what you stand for." The room went quiet. Even the band members exchanged uneasy glances. When the break finally came, the applause was polite but strained, with the audience clearly sensing they'd just witnessed a moment that wasn't scripted. Back from the break, the atmosphere had shifted. Kelly's questions were shorter, sharper, and Trevor's answers were equally unfiltered. When she asked about his criticism of certain celebrities who avoided social issues, he responded, "I'm not here to name names, but if you're more worried about ticket sales than telling the truth, maybe you're in the wrong business." Kelly's smile froze, and she replied, "Or maybe some people know how to pick their battles." The verbal chess match continued, each move more direct than the last, until it became clear that neither was going to back down. The turning point came when Kelly accused Trevor, lightly but with an undercurrent of frustration, of using moments like this to build his own brand. Trevor's expression hardened. "If speaking honestly is a brand, then I'll wear it proudly," he said. "But if avoiding hard conversations is a brand, then that's one I'll never want." The audience reaction was mixed again, half of them erupting in applause, the other half shifting uncomfortably in their seats. Kelly took a slow breath, leaning back in her chair, and said, "Well, Trevor, maybe we just have different philosophies on what people need from daytime television." Trevor looked at her for a long second, then simply said, "Maybe we do." Asterisk. Without warning, Trevor stood up. The audience gasped, some thinking it was a comedic bit, but the way he adjusted his jacket and clipped microphone made it clear this was no joke. Kelly, still seated, tried to diffuse the moment with a laugh. "Oh, come on, you're not walking out on me, are you?" Trevor gave a polite but firm nod. "I think we've said enough for today." The studio was dead silent, except for the sound of his footsteps. Cameras scrambled to follow as he headed off stage. Kelly sat frozen for a beat before turning to the audience with a half smile. Well, that happened. Backstage, Trevor was met with a flurry of producers, assistants, and crew members trying to calm him down. But he wasn't angry in a loud way. He was composed, direct, and unwavering. "I'm not here to sugarcoat for the sake of daytime comfort," he told one producer. Meanwhile, Kelly remained on stage, visibly trying to regain the rhythm of the show. She launched into the next segment, but the energy was fractured, the laughter more forced. Online, however, the walk-off was already becoming the story of the day. Audience members' phones had captured it from multiple angles, and clips were being uploaded to Twitter and TikTok within minutes. Within an hour, #TrevorWalksOff and #KellyVsTrevor were trending worldwide. Social media was split. Some praised Trevor for speaking his truth, while others accused him of disrespecting a host who had welcomed him onto her platform. The debate spilled into late-night Twitter Spaces, Instagram story polls, and YouTube reaction videos. News outlets picked up the clip almost instantly, and entertainment reporters began calling both Trevor's and Kelly's teams for statements. Neither camp responded immediately, fueling even more speculation. That evening, Trevor finally tweeted, "Sometimes walking away is the most honest thing you can do." The cryptic message was retweeted tens of thousands of times within the first hour. Kelly, for her part, addressed it briefly at the start of her next episode, saying, "I've known Trevor for years. We don't always agree, but I'll always respect his passion." The incident only grew in legend, replayed endlessly online, and dissected by pundits and fans alike. Whether viewers saw it as a clash of egos, a principled stand, or just a heated conversation gone too far, one thing was certain: this was a daytime television moment no one would forget anytime soon. In the days following the explosive walk-off, what the public didn't see was the quiet but tense back-channeling between Trevor's team and Kelly's producers. An insider from the show later revealed that Kelly had personally called Trevor that night, her tone calm but her words deliberate. "You blindsided me out there," she said, not raising her voice but making it clear she felt betrayed. Trevor, equally composed, replied, "I didn't come to your show to make you uncomfortable, Kelly. I came to tell the truth. If that made you uncomfortable, maybe the truth's the problem, not me." The silence on the line was heavy before Kelly finally sighed. "I respect your honesty, but there's a difference between conversation and ambush," Trevor answered. "And there's a difference between hosting a show and controlling the narrative." Neither budged. Meanwhile, behind the scenes at NBC's daytime division, there were heated discussions about the segment's fallout. Ratings had spiked from the viral moment, but so had criticism. Sponsors were calling, some praising the drama for keeping the show relevant, others warning that they preferred a friendlier environment. Kelly's producers debated whether to invite Trevor back for a reconciliation episode or to quietly move on and never mention it again. One young producer, however, argued that ignoring it would look weak and that addressing it head-on could prove the show's resilience. That suggestion floated in the air, but Kelly's body language in the production meeting said everything. She wasn't ready to reopen that wound just yet. Trevor's camp, on the other hand, leaned into the moment. His social media manager began subtly posting clips of his past interviews where he'd challenged other hosts or political figures, framing him as a fearless voice, unwilling to compromise. Late-night shows began inviting him to tell his side, but he refused, saying in a short Instagram live, "If you saw what happened, you saw what happened. I'm not here to repackage it for more clicks." Fans praised him for not milking the drama, while others suspected it was a strategic move to keep control of the narrative. In either case, Trevor's book sales surged. His name dominated trending lists for days, and his team knew they had turned a moment of tension into a wave of publicity. Kelly, however, began to notice a shift in her audience's engagement. Some longtime fans sent messages saying they felt she had been too defensive and should have let the conversation breathe. Others told her they admired her for standing her ground against a guest who they felt was pushing too hard. The split was sharp, but one thing was certain: everyone was talking about that episode. Even casual viewers who didn't normally watch her show had seen the clip online. During a closed-door strategy meeting, her manager told her bluntly, "This could be an opportunity. You could invite him back, hash it out on air, and own the moment, but you have to want it. Kelly didn't respond immediately. She simply sat back in her chair, fingers drumming against the table.